What's up? Whoa. Hey, a little late today. It's Dominic D'Angelo. It's me right now. It will probably be Robert here soon enough. But this is Rumor and Innuendo. It's a Monday. We have a case of the Mondays because of these tech issues. I am thinking Netflix is getting revenge on everybody. Any kind of streaming aspect, anything going across the board, they have set their sights. The deep state. Hey, there we go. It's Robert, and I got to change because we're not Nick Patrick nor.
What a pain.
We're here, guys. We're in the house. We're not the Sandman. We are Robert and Dominic.
If you say so.
Man, I don't know anymore. I don't know. Are we even ad-free shows right now? What's going on? We're just
dude.
live.
I don't. Dude, I'm just here so I don't get fined. Happy to be here. 8 minutes late. Gotta love the beauty of SoundCloud. What is this? StreamYard. Whatever the gimmick is we're using. We're here. We're chatting about. I just saw the name of the episode. That's really funny. Better Call Paul. That's cute.
Thanks.
Yeah, we got stuff to talk about, I guess. Oh, hold on. I got Taz DMing me. That's always a plus. I hope I didn't piss him off. Yeah, I love Taz. Anyway, love this show. Love all you guys here. Thank you for those of you who were joined and ready to go and thought we were missing in action, but I promise we're here. In fact, I'm going to retweet the show now. So this is no, X is crashing. This is quite a day. Dom, it's a beautiful Monday.
My goodness, what is going on here, everybody? Jeez. Man.
Yeah, it's fine. We're doing Jay Leno voice. Anyway,
I don't know if it's Jay Leno or Mike Lawrence.
The Mike Lawrence voice I do is literally just doing the Jay Leno voice. It's kind of like, and I won't do it now. When we used to do impressions of Tony Khan, I would just do Gilbert Gottfried.
That's great.
Because it was just that's the equal level of obnoxiousness that we want. What do we got here? So let's talk Tyson.
Yeah.
What we want to do to start?
Issues. Speaking of
what?
Speaking of tech issues.
Speaking of tech, yeah, that's if you're a wrestling fan and you watch that Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight, a couple big takeaways. Number one, Netflix better get their act together. Now, odds are, hypothetically, theoretically, maybe, possibly, there is not going to be a situation in which 60 million people are tuning in all at once to Raw the way they did to the Jake Paul fight.
Yes.
But on the other hand, you damn sure better get this right. Fix it, make sure it works, or there will be a riot on January 6th. Wait.
Oh, heavens to Betsy.
Ooh.
Hopefully not.
From a production standpoint, boxing and mixed martial arts learned a lot from WWE. They learned how to tell these stories, make them personal. There's a reason that Cowboy Stadium was full. That Jerry's World was packed, and it was not to go celebrate the incredibly terrible Dallas Cowboys. The idea here was there was a nostalgia element, there was a kind of a sideshow element, there was a curiosity factor, and those things tend to be what WrestleMania is.
Right.
And at the end of that, when Mike Tyson and Logan Paul were going at it, I'm like, this could be a WrestleMania moment.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't.
Can't hurt. Well, we may still get a situation with Logan Paul and Mike Tyson. I think Tyson, the fight was the fight. Here's the thing about boxing. I worked in boxing. I produced a Mike Tyson fight before in my life.
Oh.
When you watch boxing or you watch MMA as a wrestling fan, it is incredibly boring.
Yeah, it can be.
Part of that is because we are conditioned and trained based on what you see in the media for boxing. If you watch a Rocky movie, if you watch knockout clips on YouTube, you're getting something that does not exist in an actual boxing match. It is not a scripted show. It is not a work show, theoretically, unless Don King's involved. Just joking. We love you, Don. But anyway, you really can't work a boxing match to make it super entertaining. It's guys protecting themselves. You train and box, Dom. So when you're a boxing purist, when you enjoy the sport, you can appreciate it on another level. As a casual boxing fan, much like a casual wrestling fan, I made this analogy with Scott Chaplin on the Working Stiff Patreon, which is available now.
It'll be up.
God damn it, Dom.
It'll be there.
It's available now. Anyway,
Oh.
if you're trying to show a casual person wrestling
Mhm.
and you show them one of those Bryan Danielson matches from Ring of Honor from 2005, where it's a 60-minute Iron Man match, but it's wrist lock, followed by a hammer lock, followed by a headlock, followed by a toe hold, they're going to want to jump out a window. If you turn around and show them TLC from WrestleMania 17, they're not going to be awed by it because they're like, well, that's just what I expect wrestling to be. You have to find something kind of middle of the road to get them comfortable with it. Boxing is a lot like that. And yes, when you have a guy who's 50 something years old, who's fighting a dude 30 years younger than him, he's going to run out of gas quickly, but you're not going to get a big signature, amazing knockout moment. Same thing with MMA. You know, if you saw the John Jones clip of him winning, he hits that like reverse spin kick thing and then throws a couple punches. None of them look super impressive. It's not a super kick. It's
Yeah.
not Road Dogg throwing punches. It's very different, and there's no guarantee you're going to get that either. And people are expected to pony up a lot of money to watch an MMA fight. I know that at the Garden, face value tickets for a lot of those sections were like $1,200 a seat.
My gosh.
So,
Dang.
you know, that's before a secondary market.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the world that we're living in for live events. That being said, it was a unique spectacle on Friday. It hopefully will provoke Netflix to try to go and figure out how to calibrate things going forward, and negate a lot of these technology hiccups.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was an issue, Robert, and I too think not just with the tech issues, but I want to speak upon the presentation of the whole event too. I thought it was really underwhelming in regards to video packages, hyping each fight, hyping the fighters themselves, a lot of things like that, and it really, really made me consider how great the WWE team is at doing this and making this everything feel like an event and a spectacle and tune in television, appointment television. And, you know, you would think Netflix would have been really on the ball with all that, but it really just speaks to how far behind maybe not just Netflix is, but just boxing is and how kind of,
Boxing's been a fossil for a long, long time,
right. Yeah.
and they didn't help themselves on commentary.
No, I agree with you.
So this is the thing about Morrow. I
Marlon
can
All, everyone.
Morrow Ronaldo. Sorry.
That's okay.
I can appreciate why there are fans who like Mauro Ranallo. He's very passionate when he's calling things. He treats wrestling with the same degree of reverence that he does boxing, that he would any other sport that he's calling. He's a man who's been very open about his mental health struggles over the years. So it's very difficult to be critical of Mauro in a way that's fair. But during his time at WWE, they would give him, let's call it feedback, and they don't pull punches when it comes to feedback.
No.
And those can be very tough to hear. Foley had problems with Vince screaming in his ear. Vince was not necessarily a nice guy when it came to those sorts of things. So I know it's a shocker. But when Mauro was left unchecked and unfettered, and there's nobody in his ear, we get a lot of the commentary we saw during this boxing match. First and foremost, his constant reliance on catchphrases.
Yeah, too
Like
much.
"Mamma Mia," that's a lot of catchphrases. He also buried everything in the main event during that main event. When Jake Paul was coming to the ring, he starts talking about the attendance. And you gave the number of 71,000, whatever. He goes, less than the Canelo Alvarez fight that was here in 2021, which, by the way, was during COVID when not everybody was freely leaving the house. Do not tell me this is not the biggest fight ever. Do not tell me this is not the most attended fight. If it's not, you don't say it.
You're not obligated to say
we
it.
are in a packed house. There's over 71,000 people jammed into here, hanging from the rafters. There's an ass every 18 inches. The world is watching. You are part of the most important thing in the history of sports.
Right.
Then during the fight, as Tyson is running out of gas, he starts talking about how sad this is, how bad he feels for Tyson, how embarrassing this is. Again, no. you remind people he's still trying to find it. He's still fighting. He's still this. He's still that. You don't bury the main event on a show that people paid a lot of money for tickets for, and you don't want people tuning out. Roy Jones Jr. also on commentary, epically terrible. And I
Yeah.
get that he's been punched in the head for the better part of his life, but when your only addition to commentary is, I don't like that. He's biting his glove. I don't like that. He's wearing a knee brace. I don't like that. He punched him. I like that.
I
Oh,
like
wait,
that.
no, I don't like that.
Robert, you want to put your best foot forward. First impressions are really key. And hey, people are familiar with Netflix. It's not like this is their end all be all when it comes to certain aspects like this, but this is a big component that they want to have moving forward as a live sports product. And obviously, WWE knows what they're doing when it comes to this situation. But it's also like,
Prime knows what they're doing.
huh?
Amazon Prime knows
yeah,
what they're
Prime
doing.
knows it.
You watch
Exactly.
those NFL games, they are, from everything I've seen, seamless. I don't remember there being a significant issue. I mean, look, we can't get StreamYard to work properly. So, Conrad needs to pony up and get us a better platform here while he's busy with JBL trying to navigate those waters. But, it's if you're going to enter that world and you are the biggest player in that sphere, yeah, this damn sure better work properly. I know Mike Lawrence had said there was issues with one of the Love Is Blind live streamings. I watched the Tom Brady roast. I didn't have any issues with that.
Yeah, I think that the defense I was hearing was that a lot of people obviously tuning in more so from a more global perspective of with the Netflix and Jake Paul thing than what we would have got with the Tom Brady. It was more domestic, anything else. So, but still, nonetheless, it's just wow. You want to be ready for that kind of stuff. And reported from Fightful is that none of this really concerns WWE, is that from his sources, from what they've heard. So, yeah,
Look, they're going to say they're not concerned, and I think when the time is right and it's January 6th, like they're going to perform, they're going to deliver, and it's going to be satisfying. And guys,
hey,
our next sponsor needs no introduction. You've seen the ads, you've heard us talk about it a million times, and I bet there's a big part of you, pun intended, that wants to try it out. What am I talking about? Blue Chew. That's right. This isn't your grandpa's blue pill. This is the one, the OG chewable tablet for better sex. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but at a fraction of the cost and in chewable form. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, Dom, you'll receive your prescription within days. Blue Chew tablets are made in the USA and prepared and shipped directly to your door. Best part, it's all done online. No visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. Blue Chew wants you to have better sex. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. Guys, Mike Tyson tried to turn back the clock at 50-something years old, and he ran out of gas. You're not going to run out of gas. Maybe Mike Tyson, instead of chewing on somebody's ear, instead of chewing on that glove, he should have chewed on a Blue Chew. Because Blue Chew wants to make the entire country rock hard. They told me that's the mission. They will not stop until every man is bricked up like a brick house, till every tent is pitched, till every rod is raised. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. We have a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code RUMOR at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code RUMOR to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this episode of Rumor and Innuendo.
Yes. Thank you.
I just realized my comments weren't loading until now. So now all of a sudden I see, crap load of comments.
Yeah.
Now I feel bad. I feel bad that I wasn't addressing those. You know what? My comments were not connecting in the same way Roman Reigns' phone was not connecting on SmackDown.
That's right.
Maybe he was using Cricket Wireless.
That could have been it. But SmackDown did have, despite being up against Mike Tyson and Logan, Jake Paul, geez, oh man. We had a pretty decent SmackDown, I kind of think, in certain ways.
Very strong episode of SmackDown. Look, the challenge that they were facing is you can't triple stamp a double stamp. You also can't build to a pre-taped SmackDown, to a pre-taped Raw, and then pretend that everything that happens on SmackDown is completely organic and we don't know what the next steps are. We are not spoiling Raw
No.
at all.
Nope.
However, when you do a double taping and then you have a live episode of SmackDown talking about what's going to happen on the upcoming pre-taped episode of Raw, it's a little tough. But I think they threaded the needle, and the moment that's worth talking about more than anything else is at the very end of this episode, the story they are telling with Roman Reigns since his return is I hate to use the word cinema because it's overused and cheesy. Dude, it's cinema.
It is.
Roman comes back from this sojourn post WrestleMania. He tries to take down Solo and get back to Unify and be the head of the table. He fails. He brings in Jimmy Uso. They try to conquer Solo. They fail. He builds a bridge with Jey Uso and reunites the three of them. They fail. They bring in Sami Zayn, who was enemy number one to them. They fail. He has no option left but to call Paul Heyman, to call the wise man, to call the man that has admitted Roman and I have not spoken since WrestleMania. That was what he said on air during the whole Solo stuff. He then got put through the table, gone, never to be seen again. So Roman is like, I gotta talk to this guy because nobody wants to be our fifth man. We are out of luck. And then the phone does not connect. So what that tells you as an audience member is Roman did not reach out to Paul Heyman when Paul Heyman was being held hostage by Solo. Roman did not reach out to Paul Heyman when he got put through a table. Roman did not reach out to Paul Heyman on Halloween to see how his candy distribution was going. So here we are now. What is the next step? Will Heyman find out what's going on? Maybe he was watching USA and saw what happened. Maybe he saw it on social media. Who knows? Maybe he's locked up somewhere in Jacob Fatu's basement. Not living in his parents' basement, but locked up in Jacob Fatu's basement.
Just locked up. That's it. Yeah, Robert, you make some interesting points too to really consider and what they can build to a story of bringing Paul back into the mix. And wow, yeah, there's some exciting elements coming into play. And I did not read any of the Raw spoils either, so I have not a clue of what's going on over there. But
good question though from the Wrestling Old Head about that. Are you guys team 4 versus 4 or 5 versus 5? I think the tease that we got on SmackDown of Bronson Reed's involvement.
Yeah,
I'm all in. Now, whether that is going to lead to Seth Rollins taking that 5th spot or Seth still not willing to work with Roman and a wild card being thrown in there. I've seen people speculating, maybe it'll be CM Punk stepping in as that 5th man. Wilder stuff has happened in the past.
Yeah.
I also loved, as Wrestling Old Head points out here, patiently waiting for Jacob Fatu to get jealous of Bronson Reed when those two men stared at one another. Oh yeah, we're good.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it'll be interesting, Robert. I don't know what happens on Raw, but it would be neat to see somebody the expectation probably Seth because of what you're thinking with Bronson showing up. But it would be kind of neat if a curveball is thrown and we get like Braun Breaker, who was approached by the opposite team at this juncture, and he's on this. And so there's a lot of cool stuff that they can be doing. They're setting some neat stuff up, and wanted to get your thoughts too on the neat U.S. women's title bracket going down. We had Bayley versus BFAB versus Candice LeRae, but also on the bracket, before we get to that, we have Bianca Belair taking on Chelsea Green and Blair Davenport. Then we have another triple threat with Jade and Mishin versus Piper Niven. And then finally, Naomi takes on Tiffany Stratton and Elektra Lopez in the final match of that. So we have a triple, and the winners will all get in another triple threat match. And then that triple threat match will determine who will compete for the Women's United States Championship at Saturday night's main event. So the only one we got tonight, though, was Bayley versus BFAB versus Candice LeRae, and Bayley advances. Robert, first off, you surprised by the bracket at all, or are you surprised by Bayley advancing? What are your thoughts on how they developed this so far on SmackDown?
It's rude to say I don't care. That being said, I don't care. That BFAB Candice Bayley match, they got a little lost in there at certain parts. Bailey as this generic baby face doesn't really have a lot of spark. As I said all along, I want this to be Chelsea Green
Mhm.
winning this. I think there's something interesting with that. But a lot of these triple threats are to try to cover up that not all these women are at the same level in that ring. But we're going to try to make them seem a little bit more interesting. But some of these matches are a little Greg Gagne-ish. Speaking Greg Gagne,
Mm.
you have a
Yep.
podcast with him and Magnum TA.
I do. That's correct, Robert. I do a podcast with Magnum TA, with Greg Gagne. It's called Straight Talk with the Boss. And tomorrow we're going live at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on 4horsemanetwork.com and OneTrueSportTV.com. So tune in live. And yes, tune in for a new episode of Rob Van Dam today, too, at RVDTV.com. Robert, you and Scott just did a Working Stiff Patreon.
We did a Working Stiff Patreon that clearly will be up in any moment now that
Yes.
it's sitting in Dom's inbox and he's home and we're all good. Yeah, we talked Tyson, we talked SmackDown, we talked AEW, we talked New Japan. It was a blast. It's available on the Working Stiff Patreon. The main show is up as well. That dropped last Thursday. That is still worth going and checking out. We had a damn good time there. We never know where that show is going to go. It goes in a variety of different directions. It's always a good time. I think Raw tonight's going to be a really good time. Yes, it is a taped episode. But there's two things to keep in mind as I held up four fingers. I don't know why. Number one, the matches that we know that were announced for it. So that's Sheamus versus Braun Breaker, Seth Rollins versus Bronson Reed. Those two right there, intriguing enough that you kind of want to see what the guts of that match are going to look like, since those have always been intriguing. Yes, there's the Dom and Carlito versus the War Raiders match. That should be fun as well. The other weapon WWE has when they do a pre-tape show is there are video packages and pre-tapes that were not shown to the live audience. So there's
Right.
always the possibility of adding an extra wrinkle so that you tune in and you're rewarded for tuning in. Not that I know anything, I'm not aware of anything. This is pure rumor and innuendo on my part. But what we have done in the past is you tape a little something, kind of like that Roman tease at the end of SmackDown, to reward that live audience for tuning in. We reward you, live audience folks, for tuning in here on a plethora of platforms, including the WWE Creative _ISH X account, the SE Scoops X account, and on YouTube on Rumor and Innuendo, ad-free shows, and Working Stiff. So on behalf of the technologically challenged Dominic D'Angelo, I'm the equally technologically challenged Robert Karplis. Best of luck in your future endeavors.
Don't blame us. Blame Netflix.